Hey, Christian, how
Hey,
are you?
how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about Real Madrid.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. So, where are you coming from?
So I actually live in Michigan right now. I just graduated during this whole COVID thing, so I'm at my parents' house right now, but I'm looking to get out of here soon and hopefully find somewhere else to be doing this from.
No, the important thing is that you're safe and sound, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks very much. So, with Las Blancas podcast, tell us a little bit about how you got involved into that project.
Yeah, so it actually starts way back, and I didn't even know this. So my junior year of college, I studied abroad in Madrid for an entire semester. And one day, I was a patron of managing Madrid, and I saw that Keon posted that he was going to be at a Starbucks meeting up with people, talking if they wanted to. So I headed over to the Starbucks, met with Keon, we talked for a little bit, and then after I graduated, I had an internship canceled and I was kind of figuring out what I was going to be doing during this time because everyone was kind of trying to figure that out. And I worked with Keon a bit on practicing podcasting, doing some writing, kind of a mentorship program. And right at that same time, they were getting ready to launch Las Blancas. And I got in touch with Ohm and Jess and Gabe and kind of just hopped on. Also Raquel, who was a fantastic and had to kind of take a step back because of work, but we hope to have her back soon. And then Ohm and I are the youngest, and I don't think either of us have like full time gigs, so we're able to kind of put a lot more time into this, be available for a lot of the games, and yeah, it just kind of grew from there. And we've been really excited. It's been an exciting season to follow them, especially in the first season.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really great. Yes, and shout out to who's watching and listening this as well. You guys have a terrific team. I mean, you guys do a great job covering the women's team, and Managing Madrid doing a great job covering the men's team. Now, with this podcast that you're doing with I mean, you guys record on a weekly basis. How does that work with the team? Because there's not a major network showing the game. So how are you able to keep track of the team so closely?
Right. So we use a couple of things. I have this app. I think a lot of fans use it called FOTMob, FOTMOB. You can track all of the games. And then there's another website called Live Score that you can usually find TV listings from around the world. And then we also work a lot with the community that follows Real Madrid Femenino because it's kind of a tight knit community and we're all working under the same thing of trying to find these games week in and week out. And generally, we found that most of the Real Madrid home games are on Real Madrid TV in Espanol. And then La Liga Sports TV has some, you have to use a VPN for a lot of them,
Mhm.
but we make it work as best we do. We normally try and have at least a post game pod whenever those games come. Sometimes it's harder than others, like the second game of the season. I listened to the Valencia radio station and then recorded the pod by myself because there was no place we could actually watch it. So I was going basically off of their words. And then other times, we try and record during international breaks if we're able to get together. If there's something noteworthy, like this international break, we have tons of stuff we're able to watch: Spain, Sweden, Mexico. I don't know if we'll have a podcast for it, but we try and put match reports up as much as possible.
That's really great. Now, with this new program inside the club, how did this start? Because obviously it was a long time coming for a lot of Madridistas to have a women's team competing and defending the crest. So, how did this come about in getting a Real Madrid Femenino team?
Yeah, so it was kind of complicated. A lot of socios were really in favor, and I believe it was in 2019 that nearly 90% of them voted that we need to have a women's team. There's a lot of talk about Florentino wanting to build it from the ground up, having kind of the academy, and we just build slowly into this. But like they realized pretty quickly that to do that, it was going to take way too long, and it already had been too long. So then there were kind of rumors about Madrid CFF, which is a team in Madrid who was founded by fans of Real Madrid because his daughter was a goalkeeper and she wanted a place to play. There were a lot of rumors because there were a lot of fans of the club in there. Ultimately, it didn't work out, and CD Tacon got promoted, and they ultimately struck a deal with this team that you'd be able to use the facilities. You'd have the Tacon kit on for the 2019-2020 season, except against Barcelona, which was strange. But ultimately, they were Real Madrid, and it was going to be officially Real Madrid on July 1st, 2020.
Yeah, that's really an amazing story. Now, where do they play the games? Is it one of the fields inside Valdebebas, right?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh. Now, in La Liga Iberdrola, as it's called in La Liga Femenino, what are the teams that are competing at the top? Is it the same as the men's side?
Well, so there's a couple brackets of teams. So Barcelona's on this bracket that they are just far and away the best team in the league. They went undefeated last year. They haven't lost a game this year. They're constantly in the late stages of the Champions League. So basically, it's a fight for second and third, which are Champions League qualifying positions. Now, we were hoping that Real Madrid Femenino would be fighting for that third place position, like best case scenario, and obviously that's happening right now. And everyone that's been following the team, whether it's us who are supposed to be like covering them or just fans, have been blown away by what this team has done so far. And there's a few teams that are fighting for this position. Levante, who's historically very good. They have a great coach, young talent, veteran talent. They've got Real Sociedad, who is our next game. Atletico Madrid, obviously. Madrid CFF is up there as well. So there is a lot of there's a lot of teams vying for those the second and third positions, and then there's a little bit of a drop off. But if you look at it, a lot of it's a really competitive league, and even some of the teams that were newly promoted have been giving these teams fighting for the third and fourth and second place positions a whole lot to deal with.
Right. Now, last year, which was their last year as CD Tacon, and now their first year as Real Madrid Femenino, there has been, as you mentioned, an improvement in the team, in its record, in its competitiveness. What do you attribute that to?
Well, a couple things. I think you look at it, and when they first got promoted, the announcement came out. You had a lot of these players who had been playing in the second division. They come up with David Aznar, who's their coach. And when Real Madrid announces it, they almost immediately announce Kosovari Asllani as a signing. And I mean, for those who follow women's football, she's been at the top of the game. She's played for PSG. She's played for a team in England. I can't remember which right now off the top of my head. I think Man City. She's played in the top of the Swedish league and leads the Swedish women's national team, which is they got third in the World Cup. They beat England in the 2019 third place playoff game. So that was a huge step in the right direction. And a lot of other players followed right there. We had Tysa come in, who's getting minutes with the first team. Sophia Jakobsen, her countrywoman, who is also a world-class player. And you see a lot of that. And then they do okay last year. For a first-year team in Primera Iberdrola, they do okay, but ultimately these are the standards of Real Madrid, and once we get that crest, there's going to be a lot of changes. And then you see 9 more signings come from all over the league, a lot of really high quality players, whether it's veterans like Kenty Robles, who's played for Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, and then also some younger talent like you look at Marta Cardona and Olga Carmona, who have come in from Real Sociedad and Sevilla respectively and have really made a huge impact.
Yeah. Now, within the European landscape, let's say we finish third or higher in the Primera Iberdrola and we get into the Champions League and we're there next season. What are the other clubs in Europe that we'd really have to watch out for? Is it the same names as in the men's side, or are there some surprise names that we wouldn't even mention?
There are some surprises, and there are some that are pretty equal to the men's game as well. You look at Chelsea has an amazing team. Man City has an amazing team. Obviously, the pinnacle is Olympique Lyon, who have won the Champions League, I think, 5 times in a row. They have 6 altogether. They've just been they've really an example of what happens when you invest from the ground up for years on a women's team. You become unstoppable because others aren't doing it. But now there's more money coming in and more people are stepping up. Like that, PSG in their league as well is a very, very good team. Germany has some good sides with Wolfsburg and Bayern Munich. And then you see some teams that you wouldn't necessarily expect, like teams from Sweden who have invested for a long time and have really they're not at that level where they're challenging the Man Cities, the Lyons, but they're making runs. They're getting deeper because there isn't a group stage. It's just knockout rounds for this. Mm-hmm. And then there's some lower level teams where I think that Real Madrid, if they got in, they could compete. We'd have a solid chance to advancing past them.
That's really, yeah. Well, let's see if we can keep this pace up and finish really high up that table, and then we can get into Champions League and really bring the Orejona back for the women's side and for the men's side. Wouldn't that be something?
That's the dream, isn't it? I mean, hopefully that will not be too far off.
We had a similar thing occur, but it was the men's soccer team and the basketball team winning the European Cup in the same year. It was 2018.
Right, yeah, that was Luka Doncic's last year there, right?
Yes. Now he's over in Dallas. Every night in, night out, he's just mesmerizing the whole league over here in the United States.
That's right.
Yeah. So now let's revert over to the men's side. So yesterday we played in Valladolid and won 1-0, and we're in second place in La Liga. We have Atalanta coming up on Wednesday night in Italy. We've had so many injuries. I mean, you just could count it, and it's just the list is growing. But there we are, second place in La Liga, 3 points behind Atletico. How do you assess the team up to now in the season?
I think there's been good and there's been bad. Obviously, we've had a struggle ever since Ronaldo left of replacing these goals, whether it's with young talent, whether it's with veteran talent. Benzema was able to shoulder a lot of that load, but now he's injured. So it's like, what do we do? And you kind of can look at the player ratings from the last game, and you see our midfield is perfectly fine. I mean, you've got Kroos, Luka Modric, Casemiro doing what they do game in and game out. And then you look at that front line, and Mariano, Vinicius, and Asensio weren't really able to create much. So I think that's one of the problems. You've had so many variables tossed into this with injuries, which Real Madrid always seems to have a ton of, especially this year. And then you have things like COVID protocol, having players miss out. So that's one thing. I think there are some tactical things that we're missing in build-up, that we always leave the back door open in transition. But I think all these other teams are also dealing with that. You look at Atletico in this last 5-game stretch, and they've dropped as many points as they have all season in these 5 games. And they kind of opened the door for us. So I think when we get these players back, we'll be in a much better position. I mean, even the addition of Valverde, Hazard, and Rodrigo, who are in training, if we could get them back, I think we have a very solid opportunity. Ultimately, it's Real Madrid, and we will expect to go into Bergamo and win that game and win in Madrid, regardless of who's on the pitch. And we have the talent to do that, even with no one returning. But hopefully we get people back, and then we are able to increase that advantage and really make a deep run in the Champions League.
Look, I really share in the optimism that you have against Atalanta, for example. I really do share in that. I'm a little more cautious with that opponent, and this is why. Because Atalanta is a team that is very well balanced. They do attack with a lot of numbers. They do have a lot of speed, and we have been caught on the back end so many times in a poor position, and we've been taken badly by teams that have been able to catch us on the counter, and Atalanta is very, very good at that. I'm a little cautious about Atalanta in that regard. I mean, they have a game against Napoli today in Serie A, which let's see how that goes, because they're going to expend a lot of energy in this game, and they're going to have one less day of rest, and we're going in there after winning in Valladolid with confidence and going into Italy looking to squeeze out a win. It's a difficult matchup, wouldn't you say?
I think it's definitely a difficult matchup. I think we are aided by the fact that Papu Gomez did leave. I think he was really the heartbeat of that Atalanta side. But you look at Zapata, who is extremely dangerous, getting in between center backs and in those outside channels. And luckily, we have Varane, who's very pacey. Will hopefully be able to give him a solid physical challenge. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the tactics because Varane can't be defending a 3-on-1 every opportunity, and we're just praying that Thibaut Courtois can make insane saves, which he has done time and time again. But I think we're going to need to see – it's a team that's been knocked out quite a few times in the past couple of years, ever since that three-peat. And I think that they know that. They know that their fans and the club demand more. And I really expect people like Varane, Luka Modric, Toni Kroos to shoulder that and hopefully come out on top. Obviously, we're still going to need somebody to finish those chances, but they've been spectacular all year, and we're going to need them to be that way in this leg.
Do you think Karim Benzema makes it?
I hope Karim Benzema makes it. I am not 100% sure. I hope they don't rush him and then he ends up aggravating a more long-term injury. But ultimately, you know, it's going to come down to a game day decision, I think. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and no Sergio Ramos. That's a pretty big loss on the defensive side. I mean, we haven't had him the last two round of 16 matchups in the first leg, except for against Manchester City. We didn't have him in the second leg because of a red card that he had in the first leg. That's pretty costly. So, yes, with Rafael Varane and Nacho Fernandez as the center backs, you know, I do have faith in the two of them. I just hope that they in these type of situations, you have to pay so much attention to detail. You can't commit those errors that you commit in La Liga because you make a really horrendous error in Champions League knockout, it could be the end of the season. It could be
Absolutely.
over. I mean,
Right.
we've seen it before where we have a great season and then we have a bad road loss and you're out the door. There's no tomorrow.
I think we are advantaged by playing in Italy first. I think that is a huge thing. If we can come away with even a draw with a goal, you have that away goal, and then we come back to Madrid, no fans, so it's pretty neutral, but we also will hopefully have a lot of those players back, including Benzema, and really take advantage of them at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu.
Yeah. No, the Di Stefano.
Or the Di Stefano, yeah. One of my I wish they were in the Bernabeu.
Now, speaking of the Bernabeu, the renovation's going on. Have you seen the latest video?
I don't know if I've seen the latest one, but it looks incredible. I mean, the draw up with the screen of Zidane scoring that volley on the side, the little open areas so that they don't have to shut down the roads like they used to. It looks very, very nice.
And they're going to add more seating, I believe. There's about 4,000 or 5,000 more seats they want to add in the top level deck. You know, there's going to be like a terrace at the top end, I think. They're going to have that. It's going to look like a spaceship. I think Elon Musk is behind it too, you know?
I know. I'm excited to see the new stadium, but there's also like a nostalgic part of me that is going to miss the old, like the huge pillars on each side that you walk up and go into the stadium and everything. So I'm excited, but also I hope that we're able to get some fans back in to give the Bernabeu a proper send-off before the renovations.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But the thing is that, you know, look, I'm not making any light of this. The pandemic has been horrendous for millions of people around the world, and no doubt about it. Millions of lives affected, lost, you know, changed forever. Not making light of any of that. However, that pandemic occurring and Madrid playing in the Di Stefano full time because there's no fans allowed in any of the games. It was almost like a perfect storm where they can accelerate the renovation even sooner. Because before, the plan was to play during the season and the major construction only happened during the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Di Stefano can't hold the fans that Real Madrid would be having at each game. And I think you can look at the Monumental for River Plate. They also were going through a huge renovation. They shut it down. They played at one of their neighbors' stadiums, and now it's finished, and they were able to get back on it last night. So I think that it definitely helps speed up construction. Obviously, there's a whole lot that was horrible about this and still is, but that is a silver lining for Real Madrid fans.
And I think that the club, they took a loan out for 575 million euros, if I'm not mistaken, and I think they're going to pay that off in half the time.
They should. Honestly, they should.
Mean,
and then you think about, too, once you open that stadium, the amount of advertising that you'll be able to have inside the stadium with the 360 scoreboard and all of that kind of stuff. And to have that sooner than you thought, you'll be able to make the money back. It is Real Madrid. People will come. People want to base purchases off of the ads they see in the stadium. I think that once we're through this pandemic and the stadium is back to full capacity, they'll have no problems getting their finances back in track.
Yeah, I mean, they are one of 3 clubs in La Liga that actually made money last season with the pandemic. I mean, really? The others lost money.
The pandemic and introducing a new team.
So So they did. It was Athletic Bilbao, Real Madrid, and I believe Celta Vigo is the third one. That's it. Everyone else lost money.
Yeah, and that's a huge testament to the business side of things at the club.
Yes. There is a book, I don't know if you've read it, it's called The Real Madrid Way.
I have, yes.
Yeah, that I recommend everybody, not even just Madridistas, but everybody who loves the sport and likes to know the business side of the sport and know what Real Madrid are doing behind the scenes. Recommend that book. Tremendous book, really.
Yeah, absolutely, I completely agree. It was one of the first books that I went to when I was really trying to get a deeper understanding of the club.
Yeah, yeah. Now with this renovation, I mean, this is we've heard estimates that it's going to generate 100 or 150 million euros a year in revenue outside of the games.
Right,
which is astounding.
Because they're going to have like a shopping center inside. It's going to be able to hold different kinds of business meetings. It's also going to have that new renovated museum, and everyone who goes to Madrid should go to the museum because it's absolutely amazing now. And I can't even imagine, the kind of high-tech different things that they're adding right now with this renovation.
It's the 3rd museum most visited in the city of Madrid, behind Museo del Prado and Thyssen. Those 2, and then...
Which is incredible because there's so many great museums in Madrid. I mean, that's beating out the Reina Sofia. It's beating out the Naval Museum, the Museum of History. There's so many things. So that's incredible.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but I've been following Madrid for 20 years now, and I have a lot of friends at the club. And one thing I remember a Madrid official telling me was back in 2014 when the plan was introduced to the public. There was an offer by EPIC, which I think is an oil company. I'm not too familiar with it. They actually offered 400 million euros to help renovate the stadium, but in exchange, they wanted the name of the stadium changed to their company for 20 years. And the board said no. They didn't want to do it. Now, I don't know. I mean, that is pretty much a testament to wanting to maintain to the tradition, even if they were going to be handed money from an outside company.
Yeah, I think that, obviously that's a lot of money and everyone can use a lot of money, and retrospectively, especially now. But the thing is Real Madrid is a worldwide club that is renowned for their history, for these great players, for the people who have helped make the club what it is today. And you look at Santiago Bernabeu, and he's one of the top. I mean, and you look at one of the others, Di Stefano, and that's what the pitch we're playing on now is named after. So I think that not only would tons of fans be extremely angry, but I don't think the socios would ever sign off on that because that history is important to them.
Yeah, and I've had conversations with socios in Madrid. Last time I was there in 2018, and I'm an American Madridista, 21st century, and here in Los Angeles, I'm in Los Angeles, and we have the Staples Center, we have Sophie Stadium, we have, it's not new to us where a stadium is named after a company. It's second nature. But I go to Spain, and over there they reject that notion. completely, even if it's getting money from that company to help what their plans are for improving the competition of the club moving forward. And I mean, it was a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at not even in Spain, but some of the just giant clubs around the world. You look at, Barcelona's Camp Nou, you look at Old Trafford, Anfield. None of these teams have these huge stadiums named after sponsors. I mean, obviously that kind of changes now with teams like Manchester City, who's sponsored by Etihad, and their stadium is named that. But those teams that have been at the top of the game for a long time have that name of the stadium that's recognizable to the whole world, whether you're a soccer fan or not. And I think it would be a huge letdown to see any of those renamed.
Yeah, but that's water under the bridge now. It's just a fun nugget to know.
Right.
And, we're getting the new stadium within the next 2 years, I would say max, probably even sooner if they keep on going and there's no fans allowed in the stadiums. Because if that were the case, then Madrid would really be up against it with the pressure of, the socios want to go back and watch the team in person, and that'd be quite something to see how they would shake out,
Yeah, for sure. Everybody wants to be back in the stadiums, whether you're in the U.S. or in Spain. I mean, I think every sports fan is really itching to get back, and as soon as they get the green light, they'll be there.
Yeah. Now, for you, when did your love for Real Madrid start? When did that, start that new chapter of following the club on a personal level?
Yeah, so for me, it started probably a little later than most people. It started in high school. I took Spanish throughout high school and college. And that was my first real introduction to Real Madrid in soccer, really. I mean, as a kid from rural Michigan, there wasn't a lot of emphasis on soccer. It was all football and basketball and some baseball. And I played baseball for a long time. But I got to become friends with a lot of the people on the soccer team and started talking to them, whether they were in my Spanish class, whether they were just friends that I knew. And ultimately, a lot of them were either Barcelona or Real Madrid fans. And just through the process of kind of learning more about each one, I fell in love with Real Madrid. And then in 2016, kind of for my high school graduation, I went to Madrid and saw the game against Eibar. And from that point, when I saw the bus, it was over. It was a love story. I mean, I became obsessed. It was what I revolved my life around. So I fell in deep pretty quickly, so I don't have that long, I wasn't a Real Madrid fan since birth, but since then I think I've caught up in time.
Yeah. Now you've seen 3 Champions League titles as a Madridista.
Right.
Yeah, the three-peat. So you started the trend.
I was there for, I think I kind of did start the trend. That I'll take credit for that if you want to give
There
it
you
to
go.
me.
Why not? Why not? So your favorite players that you cannot stop watching them and being in awe. Who are they?
Well, so I really do love creative midfielders. One of the all-time favorites is Sergio Ramos, obviously. But I don't know if you see back here, I've got Luka Modric's Ballon d'Or scarf. I was at the match where he got it while I was studying abroad, so he's one of them. I also love Toni Kroos. Those are some of the big ones for me. But obviously, anybody who puts on the kit, I'm going to support them to the death. We saw Ronaldo leave, and obviously I think he was a fan favorite for pretty much everyone. Zidane, although he's on the touchline now. The club just has so many historic players throughout their history that you just can't help fall in love with. I mean, I'm excited for the time where Raul eventually takes over the reins at the first team, because I think that he's destined to do that at some point. So, I mean, yeah. I also, right now, love Fede Valverde. I think he embodies Madridismo and gives his all on the pitch at every second of the game.
He's a great success story because he came from the La Fábrica. He went to Deportivo La Coruña, right? He got minutes over there, and they brought him back.
Yeah,
that's a part of that.
He had to endure a rough season at Depor. They were fighting for relegation, ultimately got relegated. They had 3 coaches. He had a serious injury. Ultimately, he comes back. I believe, was it Solari that gave him his first set of a good chunk of minutes? And he
Yes,
really
yes.
kind of broke through. And as soon as he stepped on the pitch, you're like, this kid deserves to be here. He's going to be something special. And he's been just that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the myth of a lot of people that don't follow Madrid day in, day out, they think that Madrid just buys talent everywhere and puts it in a Rubik's Cube and they figure it out. Like, that's not the case. A percentage is outside talent. I mean, you can say that for Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema. But then you got the Dani Carvajals, you got the Lucas Vasquez, you got the Casemiros, you got Valverde now. I mean, those are Cantera players that came up the ranks and they were given time on the first team, or they went elsewhere and they got time as a starter and came back, which accelerated their growth. And I think that's a fantastic way to bring up a player within the team, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody, whether you're in Madrid or you're a fan from somewhere else, loves when a Canterano comes through the ranks. And I think there's I don't know why, a real resistance to give Real Madrid the credit they deserve in that arena. Everybody wants to talk about La Masia because of that one generation. But you look at just what Real Madrid has now in their first team, and then you just look around La Liga. You can't go a single match without coming across a team who has a former Canterano of Real Madrid in their team. And
there was one yesterday.
Absolutely.
Oscar Plano.
Right.
Oscar Plano.
You see in Oscar Rodriguez almost nail that shot in the Champions League. We have we produce really quality La Liga talent, and we've spread it all over La Liga, whether it's in Real Madrid or in other clubs, but they're clearly doing something right.
Yeah, there was a point, I think it was maybe 6-7 years ago, where there was over 100 players in La Liga that came from the Real Madrid Cantera.
Which is incredible.
At one point. And there's 440 players, so 25% or so were from one farm system, which is insane.
Yeah. It just shows the scope of the club and their ability to produce and attract talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll see how this shakes out. You know, it's really great. So you've been a Madridista since 2016, if I'm mistaken, or 15.
2014-15.
14-15, gotcha. 14-15, after La Décima. La Décima. Now, your favorite jersey to own is, besides the white, which is, I mean, is there another jersey that just you wear constantly that you love wearing out?
I have too many jerseys. I've got like buckets full. So I have a few that, other than the white, that are like top for me. I think the purple just brings back great memories of that 16-17 season where every weekend we were making a comeback Ramos header. You know, I have a Germany 2014 kit signed by Toni Kroos, which is one of my favorites because it was one of my favorite World Cup kits, and then obviously one of my favorite players signed it. So that is obviously one of them. I really like to collect retro kits. I've got the light blue. I can't remember which year it was. The light blue with the dark blue collar with Raul on it. I've been searching for I believe it was 99 kit, though, the black and gold one. I haven't been able to get my hands on that one yet, but that's on the bucket list. But I really just love collecting kits. I think the black kit that we have this year is really nice with the pink accents. So I don't know. Do you have a few that really stick out to you?
My it's amazing you mentioned the black and the black with the yellow trim. I do have that. That's the first jersey I owned.
Oh, do you have a name on the back, or is it?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Raul?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
I have a Raul. I have a Raul, and I have a 98-99 Redondo.
Oh, that's very nice as well.
Because I'm Argentine descent, so I started following Madrid in 2000 when I went there with my family on vacation during the summer. I was a sophomore in high school, and I went to the stadium. I fell in love with Di Stefano videos, and Redondo was playing for the team at the time. And we won La Octava in Paris, where they beat Valencia 3-0, which coincidentally had Piojo Lopez, who was one of my favorite players of all time. and he was the left forward on that team. And that Valencia team, people don't remember, but they went to the Champions League final the next year and lost to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
that was not a one and done team. That was a 2 straight run that they didn't make it. You know,
people really don't want to think about, how historic Valencia actually is. I mean, the Mestalla, their ability. I mean, they're in some really deep trouble right now with their ownership and kind of just their form. But I hope that they can get it back on track, because although they seem to be a bogey team for Real Madrid over and over again, they are one of those sides in La Liga that makes the league super special.
Yeah, and it's a historic stadium. Mestalla, I've been to Mestalla. I attended the Copa del Rey final 2014 where we beat Barcelona 2-1. I was there. I went with my mother. That was a fantastic evening I'll never forget.
Absolutely.
And the run of Gareth Bale, which left me speechless. We were all, I must have jumped 2 rows down when I jumped in celebration of that goal.
Yeah, it's an incredible stadium. I've been there as well. I mean, just how steep it is. It seems like everyone's bearing down. They have a really good anthem that gets everybody pumped up before the game. It's a great side.
And Madrid have some history with Valencia in terms of assisting the club, because in the prior La Liga game, there was a mention from the announcers that Alfredo Di Stefano is the manager with the most games managed at Valencia. And he helped them win a European Cup Winners' Cup, which used to be a trophy back in the 70s and 80s. They discontinued it. And then he kept managing them when they were fighting to get back into first division, 87, 88. So Madrid and Valencia have a history together, and not only playing against each other, but also intertwining in a lot of these facets.
Well, and I mean, you look at Danny Parejo, who was there for so long, and he was a Canterano at Real Madrid, if I'm not correct. Yeah.
Another one.
And I mean, he was just the face of that club for the longest time. And it was extremely strange to see him in yellow now, but I'll get used to it eventually.
Yeah. Now I have a surprise for you, Grant. So I went through your Instagram, in preparation for this. So I'm going to put a hat on, and do not discontinue your video feed.
I won't. Oh no.
So I went to Xavier in 2003, 2004.
No way. That's crazy.
Yes. Yeah, so I went there, and I've been to UD Arena. I saw Xavier Dayton at home and in the Cintas Center. I saw Xavier knock off St. Joe's in the A10 tournament when they were undefeated, when they had Jameer Nelson and they had Delonte West in the backcourt, and we beat them by 20 points. Then we played Dayton in the final, and then we won that, and then we got to the March Madness and went to the Elite Eight and lost to Duke in the Elite Eight in Atlanta. So... Yeah. In a former life, I was
my Dayton scarf right here, so I had to make sure to include that one. That's what a small world. That's incredible.
That is incredible, right? That's incredible. I have to say, I have a lot of people in.
I was a senior last year when the team went 18-0 in the A10, and we were at all the games with Obi Toppin and Jalen Crutcher. So. That was pretty incredible. We're still a bit heartbroken that team was never able to play in the NCAA tournament, and I don't believe I will ever get over that one. But,
no, that was harsh. I saw that, and I thought, wow, that man. There's a rivalry between the two, but my goodness, that was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I've dealt with some hard sporting events. I was in the stadium. I was in the Camp Nou when Real Madrid lost 5-1. But I don't think anything broke my heart quite like seeing that team not get a chance at the NCAA tournament. So
very tough. Very tough. So anyway, I just wanted to show that.
that's incredible. I did not know what you're gonna pull out, but that is not what I expected.
Yeah, we do miss the matchup because we're in the Big East, so we don't really see you guys like we used to. But we'll see if we can meet up again, if not in the tournament, right? Wouldn't that be something?
That would be incredible. That would be awesome.
Well, we got March Madness coming up. Hopefully they play. Last year they didn't because of the pandemic, so we'll see
Right.
if it happens or not, right?
Yeah. Hopefully Dayton can make it this year because they're looking on the edge. We need a good run in the A10 tournament.
Exactly, yeah. All right, so listen, Grant, we have this segment called the final stretch. So it's
Okay.
10 rapid questions, yes or no. It could be of any topic, and we have a point system with all the guests that are on Charlas con Christian. Are you ready to go?
All right.
All right, here we go. Number one, on the hip hop scene, are you an East Coast or West Coast gangster?
Ooh, I'll say East Coast.
East Coast, fair enough. Number two, if you could buy a Vegas hotel, which would you choose?
Oh, I don't even know any. I've never been to Vegas. um,
Ah!
I don't know.
You have like Caesars, you have Bellagio, you got Mandalay Bay.
I'll go with Caesars.
Caesars?
Yeah.
It's a classy choice. Yeah, there you go. Number three, who wore the number 9 jersey before Karim Benzema?
Oh, it had to be Ronaldo.
There you
Cristiano
go.
Ronaldo.
A lot of people still get that wrong, if you can believe that. They say Ronaldo, the other Ronaldo.
Right. He wore 11 though.
The other, yeah, he did. He
For a
wore
little
11.
bit.
Yeah, they get that little, it's a little tricky. Number four, name a fear you want to overcome.
Ooh, oh, this is not rapid fire. I'm sorry. Um,
Yeah, I know, this one's not.
I am just terrified of someone breaking into my house. For no reason. I don't know why. It's completely irrational, but it is something that freaks me out.
Okay, all right, cool. Number five, which foreign destination you've never visited before do you want to go to post-pandemic?
Buenos Aires.
Nice, very nice. You got bonus points for that one.
Well, I
Number
really
six,
want to see a Super Classico in Argentina, so that's the reason behind that.
yeah, the Super Classico, yeah, no doubt. I mean, there was a Super Classico in the Bernabeu, and I have the scarf to prove it.
I have
This
it
is
too. Wait.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that! We have the
Yeah.
same scarf.
Look at that.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, this
a
is
little out of
insane.
it's a little out of the shot, but it's here.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. This is
Yeah, I
great.
actually sat unintentionally with the River Plate fans, so that was quite an experience.
Wow. So you went to that final and you saw it.
Yeah, I was abroad at that time, and I was actually in class, and they announced that it was going to get moved, and I just completely zoned out of class, which I don't normally do. But I was like, I need to get these tickets. I need to get these tickets, and so I bought them. And then a couple days later, they're like, "You're sitting in the River Plate section." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm a River Plate fan now," because
I guess so, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Well, they won the game, so I guess you're in this party section.
yeah, it was pretty incredible.
I'm a Boca supporter because of my
Okay.
grandmother and my godfather as well. So I was called by a friend who's inside the club when the announcement happened. They got tickets first, obviously, because he's
Hmm.
working for the club, and he said, "Listen, I got an extra ticket. You could be in my box. Let me know if you're going to make it." And this is like within a week, and I'm in LA. And I mean, at that time, I mean, a full-time job, and I already had my vacation, earlier that year. Like, I can't
Right.
take, I can't take a long, adios, boss, and take off
Like,
for
I'm
10
going to
days.
Madrid.
Yeah, I'm going to Madrid for a game. I couldn't do it, so I couldn't make it. But yeah, that was the game that Real Madrid saved the Copa Libertadores final.
Right. Yeah.
They saved. They
It
saved.
was.
As much as the media wants to hammer and whatever, the story is Madrid saved that final.
And they did a really good job to keep it safe too. I mean, we went through countless checkpoints and everything. I felt completely okay the whole time, so it was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
that's great. That's really great. That's what it's all about. It's about celebrating the sport and that rivalry, and it's a unique moment. And unfortunately, they couldn't do it in their stadium. I mean, I'm Argentine descent, and I was embarrassed that they can't figure that stuff out. But then, Madrid comes calling and says, "Hey, have it at our stadium. We're free."
Yeah, it would have been a shame if they couldn't have had it. So it's a good thing that they were able to at least play the match because it was some great football. I mean, regardless of what side you're on, there were great goals. It was just nobody knows how to celebrate soccer quite like the South Americans.
Yeah, in South America, we just take it up a whole nother notch. Europe does a great job, but South America, it's just
nothing compares to Brazil and Argentina, in my opinion. So
yeah, you're right about that. Brazil and Argentina, that rivalry is. I have a lot to say about it. I don't have enough time to go into that right now. I have a lot to say about it. But anyway, let's keep on rolling, okay? So
yeah, sorry, I'm making the rapid fire not so rapid. My bad.
Hey, that's fine, man. You get some bonus points, all right? No problem, no problem. Number 6, which legend would you want to play ping pong against, Marcelo or Roberto Carlos?
Marcelo.
Marcelo, okay, nice. Now, number 7, you have $100,000. Do you buy a Tesla Model S or a Range Rover?
Tesla.
Nice, nice. Very good. Number 8, if you could act in an action blockbuster film, who would be your director, Jerry Bruckheimer or Michael Mann?
I'll go with Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah, like the flying cars and all that, right? Number 9, if you could score a World Cup winning goal, which country would it be against?
Ooh. Right now?
Well, yeah, let's say now.
I'll do it against Argentina. Sorry.
Okay, those bonus points win.
Just to keep Messi from winning one.
All right, fair enough. Number 10, Lady Gaga or Dua Lipa? Who would you want to be going on a date with?
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga, cool. Okay. All right, that's the conclusion of that segment. So we're going to the calculator here. 1,900,000 points.
Let's go. Hopefully that's on the leaderboard.
Yes, it is. You definitely are. You definitely are. You're in the top 10.
I'll take it.
That's great. That's great. Wow. Hey, Grant, it's been phenomenal chatting with you. Really, thank you so much for the time. And really, everyone watching, please check into Las Blancas podcast. Go to managingmadrid.com. And Grant, message for our audience and also mention your social media handles.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you guys haven't followed along with Real Madrid Femenino, they're a super exciting team. We're doing all the coverage. The next game's on February 28th against Real Sociedad, which is going to be a huge game. We have a lot of good personalities on the team, a lot of really high-quality players. And the great thing about this is, like, we get to learn so much about Real Madrid men's history, but you really get to watch this build because it is their first year. So hop on the train, ride it through that history because I'm sure it's going to be a good one. You can follow me basically at everything is at GrantLittle09. I write for Managing Madrid in the podcast Las Blancas. I write for Stumptown Footy, which covers the Portland Timbers and Portland Thorns. And I also write occasional articles about some of the U.S. women's national team players abroad for Her Football Hub. Wow, he's a busy guy,
Do you have a prediction for Wednesday night's game against Atalanta?
I think 2-1 to Real Madrid.
2-1. Okay. Yeah, I said 2-1 as well, actually, in my last podcast recording.
I didn't see that. So great minds.
Yeah, great minds think alike. That's great. Well, Grant, stay safe up there in Michigan. And if you ever, post-pandemic, obviously, if you're ever in Southern California, you want to head out here, just, let me know. Arpena, Sur de California, would love to have you for an event and watch a game together. And yeah, it'd be fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. I had a great time. I would definitely love to take you up on that offer, and I might bring down a Dayton Flyers flag to put in the bar.
You're gonna show up with a Dayton flag. I'm gonna be like, oh, no one's gonna get it.
Go back to Michigan.
No one's gonna understand it in the Pena, but me. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, so stay safe, take care. We'll be in touch, and love to have you on another time. Maybe, hopefully, after we win a Champions League title, or maybe La Liga with Real Madrid Femenino.
Absolutely. Just let me know. Thanks again so much.
We're going to have on pretty soon and Keon as well. Those two are on deck.
Man, you got a good lineup. Those guys are amazing. They really know their stuff. So.
Oh, they definitely do. All right, Grant, take it easy, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
A la Madrid y nada más.